Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining me. We are going to continue in our Bible stories. And remember, last week we started talking about God's messengers. Do you remember what that was about? How God sends messengers to talk to the kings for him. And unfortunately, the kings were not listening, and neither were the people. And so last week we talked about the prophet Elijah and how Elijah, with the help of God, was able to show God's power when God sent fire down to the altar. And remember how all the people were praising and worshiping a false god, Baal? Well, God, of course, did not like that at all. And Elijah tried to help the people to see that they were wrong. But it took the power of God through Elijah to make them see. And remember, when that fire came down on the altar, how all the people fell to their knees and bowed down to worship the one true God? Boy, we hear this story over and over again. Why is it so hard for the people of Israel and now Judah, remember they split in two, to worship God? They have such a hard time. They get distracted and they start worshiping other things. Let's see. I think we heard last week that God was going to send more than just one prophet. So maybe, yes, we're going to talk about another prophet today. This is called Elisha. Last week we talked about Elijah with a J, and this week we'll talk about Elisha, S-H-A. But first, what is this? Those horses look like they're on fire. And are they flying? Let's see. All right, our chapter today is called Elisha, Man of Miracles. All right, let us read. When his work on earth was over, God took him up to heaven in a spectacular, fiery chariot. That's a chariot. That must be Elijah riding in the chariot, and he is going up to heaven. As his friend Elisha watched, okay, so Elijah and Elisha were friends. So Elisha is down there watching his friend Elijah go higher and higher until he disappeared into the clouds. Well, he looks a little sad. Elisha picked up Elijah's cloak, so that's like his coat, and said, "Now that my friend is gone, it is my job to be God's voice to the people." There was plenty of work for Elisha to do. People were sick and people were hungry. But God had given Elisha great power, so the prophet was able to do many miracles that helped the people. All right, so we say goodbye to Elijah, and now we have a new prophet, Elisha. Let's see. One day, a military commander named Naaman came to Elisha for healing. Let's see. Oh, he's all covered up with paper. He kind of looks like a mummy. Let's see. Naaman had a skin disease. It was called leprosy. And there was no medicine that could heal him. And so Elisha told Naaman here to go to the Jordan River 7 times. He needed to be washed 7 times in the Jordan River in order to be healed. Naaman thought this was a crazy idea, but his friends persuaded him to do as Elisha instructed. And so Naaman dipped himself in the river 7 times. His skin was just like new. The miracle convinced Naaman that the God Elisha served was the one true God. So God let Elisha make a miracle happen so that the people would see again that God, our God, is the one true God. And Naaman, by following what Elisha asked him to do, was healed. Let's see what God's message is for us. So he says, Elijah, your work is over, and it is you, Elisha, who will take his place. You will be a great prophet for me. You will be my voice to the people. You will perform many miracles in my name. Wow, so Elisha will now go forward to help the Lord's people see that he is the one true God. Well, that was a quick story today. Oh, and it looks like next week we start a new chapter. It's called, The Beginning of the End. Oh my goodness. What does that mean? Well, we'll have to save that for next week. But for now, let's talk about prophets. So we had Elijah, and God spoke to Elijah, and he wanted Elijah to help the people see that they were making bad choices. And so they had that altar set up, and he was able to prove that there was one true God when God sent fire down from heaven and lit the altar up on fire even after Elijah had poured that water on it. He made it so hard. But we know that God can do anything, even things that seem impossible to us. And so he used Elijah to help the people see. And then when it was Elijah's turn to go to heaven, God chose Elisha, another prophet, to help keep the people on the right path, because they just kept getting distracted and seemed to forget that there's only one true God. It's so easy, I guess, for the people to forget. So, remember how we wrote that Valentine to God a couple of weeks ago? How about this week, so that we don't forget who God is and that he is the one true God? How about you write God a little note, and you don't have to put it in the mailbox, but maybe write him a note and let God know that you know that he is the one true God and that you love him and you trust him. And how about you write that note and you just tuck it under your pillow? It's not for anybody to see. It's just between you and God. And you know in your heart that you're thinking about God, and he certainly knows what's in your heart. So how about you do that this week? And I'll write a note too and put it under my pillow just to let God know I'm thinking about him and I'm praying to him because I know he listens to me and answers my prayers. All right, well, thanks for joining me for that pretty short lesson today. And next week, we're going to get into something interesting, the beginning of the end. That doesn't sound too good, but it can't really mean the end because we're here. You're here, I'm here, and we'll do another Bible story next week. So until then, how about we finish today with the Lord's Prayer? And Kate, Jonathan, how about you lead it for us, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. Please join us for the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Bye.
We miss everyone.
Yeah.